Hello again. This is definitely the highest part of town, and this is definitely one of the most important ones. Going to show you around. It's massive. It looks like a square, and it looks like where the politicians look at that Centauros at the back. So it looks like where they would have that town hall. They would have and all the banks, if there were any banks at the time, trading companies and people making laws, and where the rich and powerful perhaps would live. So this is the part of town where I believe was the heart of the city, and then from here it just went spreading through all sides of Pompei. And yeah, it's on top of the little valley here, and from here you can actually, perhaps going on top of one of these buildings, you could actually see the whole area, and it's just like a massive area, what looks like to be a square, very Roman like the city. When you walk around, the city is really well prepared. Not prepared, organized, let's put it that way. The streets are straight, there is like some sort of drainage system. If it rains too much, the rain would go downhill rather than being stuck somewhere. You can actually see on the streets rocks that have been carved, or like higher rocks where people can do crossing if there is really hard rain. And don't forget, we are in the southern part of Italy, so really hot summers, and I'm sure the most of the rain comes down in winter time, so I'm sure they would have lots of rain as well. So understandably, these people being very smart for the time, they carved the stones in order to drain the water that would be coming down the hill. Yeah, so it's and also something very interesting I found in the houses. Most of the houses, the big ones especially, they had some sort of like what we would call now a jacuzzi, and really interesting, which is like the Roman bath, which goes down to sort of like, it's only like up to your like thigh or your knee, but there are seats, and it's kind of like a squared thing, a squared, what would I call, a hole in the ground, or either a hole or something built, and structure. So it's a squared structure where you would jump in, or just pretty much walk in, and sit down and have your bath, and most likely there would have been warmed up. And this part of Italy is actually quite warm most of the year, so I'd assume they wouldn't need to warm it up too much, whereas if it was in England, and then in England there are a few ruins like this, from Roman times, where you understand why they would do such a thing, like the one city to visit as well is Bath in England, next to it's not too far from Cardiff, in Wales, but it's actually in England, and yeah, so it's a really interesting also city to visit, and it's very similar infrastructure as here, but obviously Bath is in much better shape because Bath hasn't been destroyed by any volcanic eruption, whilst this city has. But it's still here for telling the story. So I hope you enjoy it. Take care.